Welcome back, Cozy Travelers. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you here. And if you're coming back, I want to welcome you back. On today's video, we are doing my favorite mid-season check-in, meaning we get to talk about what's worked, what hasn't worked, what's been swapped out, and then anything that's been purchased recently that has been added to the lineup. A brief overview of how this works. I ink up about 13 pens this season. Right now, we're a little bit past the fall midpoint, but I like to check in and see what combinations have really worked, maybe what I finished out and want to swap, if I've gotten a new pen, what I've swapped in, and pretty much, yeah, just kind of review that and kind of talk through my lineup. The criteria for it for me is how well the color has matched to the pen, how well it writes and print and cursive, and I think those are the big three. Can't really think of anything else that I've really thought about. Oh, flow. Flow is a good thing. How well it works and actually writes in the pen. That seems very important, honestly. So let us, the overview here, and I'm also going to have a quick glance of what my lineup was for fall. If you want to see the big talk about this, I'll actually link the video up there and also link it in the description if you're interested in actually seeing me swatch everything I've used now for fall. But so in that, pretty much everything here, with the exception of the Diamine and Sailor collab and the, let's see what else was not in it. Oh, the Kaze pen with the Diamond Matador and Esterbrook Esty in Tortoise model with the Tasha Benetsuchi. Those are actually the only three, which I have them right here, that did not pass in my swatching and testing for combinations, flow, and all that in writing. So let's briefly talk about why I did write, because when I do my reviews, I like to talk about what's worked and what hasn't. For this one, it was a really solid combination with it. Like, the color is really nice. Let's pull it out. It's actually this one right up here. Maybe bring you in a little bit. So this pen lined up with this ink here, and honestly, the color, I really don't mind it. I actually really enjoyed it. My thing was that when I was writing in cursive, like, the ink wasn't flowing as nicely as I would have wanted it to. So I think if it was that color but with a much wetter formulation, I think this would have been definitely a top contender. Other two, which funny enough they're on the same page here, that didn't meet my expectations was the Tasha Benetsuchi and the Diamond Matador with the Kaze collab pen here. The reason I wasn't a fan of this was, again, it was a flow issue when the ink wasn't coming out, and it might be because this actually has the journaler nib on it, so maybe the flow did affect it a little bit, but I didn't find it to be as wet as I usually would see in a Sailor slash like Japanese ink. So that was actually very surprising to me. The other thing is, it was a little bit more orangey brown than I would have wanted the color to be for this particular pen. On the camera it might come out a little dark, but this does have a lot of like red, so I really like to match to that red, and this wasn't hitting that spot for me. So that was the reason why this wasn't making it. And then for this one, this was another flow issue where every time I would try to write with this, it would hard start. Meaning that when I would go to write with it, I would have to open the actual barrel, push the ink down a little to actually make it work. So that was honestly frustrating every time I was wanting to use this pen. But aside that, honestly, every other color combination was a home run for me. And that's been really surprising for me in the past lineups, because typically there'd be like at least like 5 maybe that I wasn't a fan of, but I think I've been hitting them, you know, just in the right spot for me. So out of the 13, having like 3 to 4 that didn't work out perfect, which, I mean, that's a great ratio to me. So that was that. Let's look back. So again, so all these were good. The Benu Pixie Plum Cream with the Mardi Gras Purple. So that is this pen right here. The Kaweco with the Birmingham Pen Company Chlorophyll was great. This one surprised me. I didn't think it was going to show up as nicely as it did, but this is the Sailor Brown Bear pen, and I had that inked up with the Tono & Limbs Strawberry Cookie. No surprise, this pen went fabulously with the Ferris Wheel Press Screen with Curiosity. Shows a really lot of good sheening and writes beautifully, print and cursive. I actually have this nib swept up for the medium, even though this does say fine. My shimmers, surprisingly, all worked really well. So I have a shimmer in this one, had a shimmer in this pen, and I had a shimmer in this pen, and I had a shimmer in this one as well. So all fantastic. This one had a custom mix I did with Diamine Starchild and Weeping Willow. This one had Colorverse Glue On. This one had Tono & Limbs Fahrenheit -459. And this one had a custom mix of the Dominant Industry Earl Grey with some shimmer in it. The only other two pens that weren't mentioned were these two, which is my Esterbrook Nouveau Blue and my Mayfair pen in the Royal Eowyn model, which I've now named Space Squid. So those are also fantastic. So what is that? So is that all 10 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. So those are all fantastic. So from here, let's discuss what I've uninked, what I've maybe replaced some of those with, and then what I've added in. Okay, so let's talk about what I uninked. So that was my Mike's Pen Fun in the self-named Tiger Tail. And this was a great pen. I had no issues with it. It has a fine, or pretty sure it's a medium. It's hard to tell with the Bock nibs. I think you have to like either take it out or some other way, because it actually doesn't have the actual letter on it. I'm pretty sure it's a medium, but it writes pretty fine. Regardless, I have a shimmer orange in here and it worked perfectly fine. The only reason I actually swapped this one out was because I got a new pen, and that is, dun dun dun, my Leonardo Supernova in the collab with Pen Chalet, and this is their collab with Jonathan Brooks from Carolina Pen Company, and this is supposed to be an homage to Bengal tigers. If you don't know, I'm a huge tiger fan. I've actually posted on my Instagram my little family portrait of all the tiger themed pens I have, and that's one of the things like I'm always on the lookout for. Like if there's a body or like a resin mix that reminds me of tigers, most often I'm gonna probably get it, or at least save up so that it's on my wish list for a pen to get. But this pen is absolutely gorgeous. I actually checked the number on mine and it says 32 out of 50. I don't know if they did 2 separate batches, because on the site there says they're limited to 100, so maybe they did like 2 separate batches, but regardless, I'm really happy with mine. It's so cute. It has brown, orange, black, white, and it's such a fun pen. And the piece that I really love that I picked about it was that I went with the rhodium plated nib, and so that's black, which is my first ever black nib, which is really shocking, honestly, because I have rose gold, gold, silver, and then gold plated. But yeah, I've never had a black one. So this actually replaced this pen because I didn't want to have 2 tiger pens with the same color, and I knew this one would actually go really well with the orange that I already had in here, because that's one of my favorite mixes. And so that's this one here. I do have a full bottle of Dominant Industry Earl Grey. I just don't have it with the shimmer because I didn't want to change the whole formula to add shimmer. I like to add a little bit to a separate sample and then add the shimmer to that, and then if I need more I could always just mix more. But if people want to test out the inks I have and I want to have everything shimmer one, the original formulation of it, it doesn't have it. So I have this here. See my mixer here. And as you see here, I used my little Yoseka Tone on Limbs event stamp. And I thought it'd be cute. I don't think I've actually used a lot of stamps in my videos. I love seeing people use stamps in theirs. So I was like, let me try it out and see how this works. I definitely have a lot that could work with this, and I think I have to space them out better because these are really close together. I don't know why I did that. But so here we have Leonardo, Supernova, X, Pen Chalet, I might have an actual name, but this on the box it just says Bengal Tiger, so. And the ink I have in here is Dominant Industry. Oh. Earl Grey with sugar. And my little stars there. Beautiful. So yeah, like this color matches beautifully with that. Because actually the set did come with its own ink. It was this one. They did a collab with the Van Diemen's Bengal Tiger Blaze. But the color of it is more like a brownish pink. Let me see if I have the swatch card. Yeah, so this is the color that actually came with this ink, and that ink came with this pen, and I just could not see the connection here. I probably people have, and I love that, but for me it just, maybe it's supposed to like show the nose, like the nose of a tiger, but typically those are also like a lot more like peachy. So this is, I love the color. Gorgeous Van Diemen's ink, my first bottle of it actually, but it just didn't suit the pen for me, so that's why I went with this combination. Next up is the pen that I mentioned in my Empire State Pen Show. It was the only pen I actually purchased at the show. It was the TWSBI Diamond ALR in the Affogato. And this is a really gorgeous, like brassy brown pen. And this one has a really cool grind because I got this done by Damien at All in the Nib, and he did a cutlass grind on this. And the ink I put in this one, and don't mind my acrylic stand on this. I have a tendency to decorate some of the bottle caps for my inks, especially if they're on display on my desk. So this one just has a character from the show Promised Neverland. And this series, funny enough, had all people with like characters with stationery stuff. So like a bottle of ink, a dip nib, a fountain pen, scissors, compass. And this is actually before I was even into like fountain pens and stuff, so it was really funny that eventually it full circled, and so I thought this was really cute to put on top of the bottle. Regardless, going off topic right now, but the ink I have in here is the Platinum Mixable in Brown. This ink came with my Platinum Chai Latte pen, and I'm pretty sure the mixable ink is purchasable separately, so if you're able to find it, this is a really fun brown that does have a nice sheen to it, and hopefully it'll show up on here. Try to mix it out there. And as I mentioned in my video for the Empire Show, the cutlass grind has an, it changes based on the angle of where you hold the pen. So if you hold it lower, you're gonna have a slightly broader line, and if you hold it up higher, you're gonna have a narrower line. So, oh, what did I do here? I don't know how I did that, but moving on. So this is the TWSBI Diamond ALR in Affogato. Oh, and I should put the nib size. This is in a medium. And the ink. Really gorgeous match to this color, like the ink to this pen. I also could definitely see this in the regular TWSBI Eco Espresso. So that's a really nice color if you have either one of the brown TWSBIs. Okay, so those were the two that got added to the lineup. Technically this color wasn't added, just the pen was swapped. So same ink, different pen. This is a new pen and a new ink. And then the next two are fully new inks as well, because I wasn't a fan of the inks with the set, as I mentioned earlier. Surprisingly, the only one I didn't swap out was the Sailor Mini with the Diamine Ghost. I've actually kept it because I really like that gray, and in my journal I typically write in print, so my issue wasn't with the print writing, it was more with the cursive. So as I said in past videos, like if it doesn't do both, it doesn't get the perfect writing. So even if I like a lot how it writes in print, if it's not perfect in cursive as well, I just don't give it that final basically like 5 stars. But in writing my journal, I actually really love it, so I've kept that as is. The two that I did end up swapping out were these two. So the first one I swapped out was the tortoise color, and that I moved to have be the custom color I made with a sample I had of Diamine and Kindle. And because I wanted it to be a smidge more red, I actually added Writer's Blood to it. And so the color looks like this now. Hopefully I don't make a bigger mess here. Yeah, that's such a really gorgeous, like deep red. Because I love Writer's Blood, but sometimes when you're writing with it, it looks too dark, almost like black. And I really wanted to keep the property of like a really deep red, especially to match like the spots on the Estabrooks. And so that ended up being the color on there. And the flow is so much better than the Tatcha Benetsuchi that I had. And tortoise, and that is a journaler. This is a journaler. And ink we have in here, like I said, it's a custom mix. Such a pretty color. And Writer's Blood is a color that I really enjoy having around Halloween time, because again, it just kind of goes with the vibe of Halloween. So that is that. And then the last one I put into this one was Star Rookie Red from Sailor. This is a collab with Tiger and Bunny. This I swapped out because Diamine Matador was having such an issue in here, and I actually ended up finishing that ink. I use it a lot for my Nibtobers, which if you're not aware of what Nibtober is basically all of October you have a prompt, and specifically Nibtober prompts I'm using are from Atlas Stationers, and every day there's a prompt to draw. Typically you're supposed to use a fountain pen, but honestly use whatever you want to use, just as long as you're kind of engaging, and you don't even have to technically draw, you could write. Just something to do creatively, and I've been doing it every day so far. If you want to check out on my Instagram, you'll see up to this point it'll be, well, by the time this video is out it should be all of October out, so check those out. It'll be all up on my page. Matador ended up being one of the colors that I actually used a lot in painting, like drawing and painting with that. So I actually fully used up that sample, which was good because I did not want to ink this up again with the same color. But Star Rookie Red was a really pretty color that I've been wanting to use, and was actually a color I wanted to use last season. But when I used it in the pen I had wanted to pair it with, it showed up for some reason a lot more pink. So I ended up not keeping that combination together. And so I thought, why not try it in this one? And honestly, I really love it. And then pink is Sailor X Tiger and Bunny. Yeah, this is definitely more of the red that I had wanted to be in the other pen. Strawberry red. Because especially from the swatch to the writing, like it's very different. But I really wanted to use because it has a really pretty sheen to it, and the red is deep. It's not like a perfect red match because this is definitely more like a richer red, but I think it was still a fun combination. Alrighty, so that actually covers everything for this season of fall. I only have really like a week or like 2 weeks left with these pens, 2.5 weeks, because while you're watching this video, I will already be in Japan. So I won't be doing any of my daily journaling until at least the 12th. So my poor pens will be by themselves, but once I get back, I will kick into Overgear and use up whatever's left in it. Hopefully a lot of them haven't fully dried out. We're gonna see what happens then. But yeah, otherwise, that is all for this video. I want to thank you for staying until the end, and if you like this video, leave a like and a comment down there. I like to respond to pretty much everybody's comments. If you have a favorite combination of what I've swapped out or added, let me know. And what is your favorite pen so far if you do yours monthly or seasonally? I'd love to know what your favorite combination is so far. But thanks again so much. I hope you stay well and healthy for the next couple weeks, and I'll see you then. Bye.